As the new Chainsaw Man update came out for Anime Adventures, I was like, why not rank them, right? There's a total of 6 new units. If you include the secret Denji unit, that's 7, but he's basically the same. But let's see who's the best. But before I do start, I just want to say that getting these new units is absolute hell on earth. Like, trying to grind them, god, it's cool. It's a very unique way of thinking on how to grind things like portals and ranks. But grinding your ass off for this, I'd rather do it for evolution for like ours and getting through banners. It's easier, yes, but at least you don't have to get these bullets for 20 more billion years. I hate it. Now, without further ado, let's get into some sites. So for my signouts, I'm gonna start off with that stats are RNG based, so they're not all the same. Stats that are shown are rounded up, so it's easier for people to understand. There's no relics included. The DPS stat that I include has all placement, not one, so it combines all of them together. You should also comment if I have the wrong information or if I make a mistake, so I could fix it and so for other people to know. And of course, this is just my opinion. So if you have your own opinion, then make your own ranking. But let's get started with my number 1 pick from the Chainsaw Man update, which is going to be Aki. So Aki is honestly very nice, very unique, very mechanical, and honestly he's similar to Kite in a sense of switching different attacks. So there are 2 different abilities that he has. So he has Cone Contract and he has his Curse Contract. Cone is the big bad wolf, Curse is the Grim Reaper, basically a bunch of damage. But I'm not gonna start off from the damage. I'm gonna go ahead and start off with his abilities, which he has a total of 3. So his first one is his passive critical chance, which is a 30% times 2 damage. His second one is to switch to Cone. So Cone is, like I said, is the wolf. He has a big AoE, he has more damage, but he has higher SPA, a total of 2 times more higher SPA than the Curse one. Which, speaking of the Curse, his third ability is to switch to Curse, which has smaller AoE, less damage, but less SPA. Let's get started with their damage and SPA. So Cone's damage is around 195,000, Curse's damage is around 130,000. The SPA for Cone is around 12.5 seconds. The SPA for Curse is around 7.5 seconds. Aki has a range of 35. He has a big circle AoE. He does not multi-hit for Cone. I do believe he does multi-hit for Curse. Tell me if I'm wrong or not. He has the affinity of magic. I'm getting this information off someone else, so maybe I'm getting this wrong. But he has the attack type of ground. I do believe he doesn't hit airs, and you can place 3 of them down. So the reason why I place Aki so high up is because his Cone switch, his Curse contract with Cone is honestly probably his better side because he has massive AoE and massive damage. Even though he has a high SPA, you could slap on Godspeed or some sort of Curse with Sukuna's fingers that could lower the SPA down to maybe 10 seconds, 9 seconds, somewhere like that. That'd be very overpowered because every attack doing 200k with a decently sized AoE is pretty nice. Plus you have a 30% critical chance, so if you land that crit, that's around like 400,000 damage. That's reaching Ichigo levels without having to sacrifice. And on the other hand, you have Curse, which has a small AoE but it has good focal damage. So if you want to hit a certain unit specifically, then boom, killed it, done. Lower the SPA to a point where you don't need to worry about it, and then of course it's over with. The best trait would probably be Divine on this guy, because then you'll do more damage with a little bit of SPA buff. But besides that, that's mainly the main reason. And you could understand why, because you'll see the other units here in a bit and see why this guy ranked really high up. So for my number 2 spot, I have your boy Denji. So Denji, his damage around 75k with 103k with bleed, around 40k DPS with 55k with bleed, 7.5 seconds SPA, 25 range. He has a Cone AoE, he does multi-hit, his affinity is physical, he's only ground type, he cannot hit airs, his ability is passive bleed, 7 ticks, and you can place 4 of them down. Denji is just an overall good damage bleed unit. Denji is ranked high up because he's very good for portal runs, since you know there's a lot of healing units, because of course bleed not only ticks but it also prevents healing units from actually healing, or healing enemies you should say. But like I said, he's just an overall good damage dealer. 75k with the SPF 7.5, that's pretty good. If you put a trait of like Divine or Godspeed on that, that'd make it even better. Plus he does have a Cone AoE, so put him in corners or areas where he'll be able to hit anything in the lane. He'll basically demolish everything. Plus he has the average placement of 4, which is really nice. Now he's also ranked up pretty high up because later on I'll explain power, but if you have power and you combine it with Denji, they actually have like a synergy. So power actually has this ability to curse units with a bleed curse, and once they get cursed, those enemies will actually have a ×5 multiplier for bleed. So since Denji's bleed does around 4k per tick, multiply that by 5, that's 20k per tick, and multiply it by that 7, that's 170,000 alongside the 75,000 already. That's around like 200,000 plus damage with normal attack and bleed if you combine it with, of course, power. So that's why Denji is ranked really high up. So the synergy in both of them is very good. Now moving past that, I have the Angel Devil. So the Angel Devil has a damage of around 200,000, around 92.3k DPS, 6.5 seconds SPA, 35 range, a decently big circle AoE. It's not really that big, it's kind of small, but still very large. They do multi-hit. The affinity is magic plus light. The attack type is ground, but they can hit airs, so the ability is basically hybrid. And now the ability is kind of interesting. Not only is it hybrid, but it takes off damage off the base every single time it attacks. So this unit is very strange to play with, and you could place 3 of them down. Now, I placed it in 3rd place and not higher up because of the ability. So every time they attack, like I said, it takes off damage off the base. So eventually, if it gets down to a level point where you can't really attack anymore, the Angel Devil will stop attacking. So it won't finish off the base, but it will stop attacking in total. And that's really bad because of course you need constant damage, and when you're on map where the base only has like 2k HP and not into the 10ks, well then of course it's over. You can't really use that unit. But if you are in the maps where it's a 10k plus HP, then this is very useful. Of course you're gonna last way longer. Now the thing is, they need to add a synergized unit that probably heals the base to compromise with the damage being taken off the base, because the 200k damage with the SP of 6.5 seconds while being a hybrid, that is overpowered. If it just didn't have this ability, it would probably be number 1 or maybe number 2 in total. So this Angel Devil is very good, but the ability brings it down by a ton. Now moving on to number 4, I have your girl Himeno. So Himeno, or if that's how you pronounce her name, she has around 60k damage with a DPS of 28.5k, SP of around 6.3 seconds, a range of around 33. The decently big circle AoE similar to the Angel Demon. They do not multi-hit. Their affinity is magic. Their attack type is ground. They do not hit airs. Their ability is to sacrifice herself for a ghost summon. Now this ghost summon has a really cool, model, but the stats isn't all that crazy. It's kind of mid in my opinion, but the stats goes like this. The HP is 300,000 plus. The damage is around 20k per attack, and there's 2 attacks, so that's around 40,000 I believe. Tell me if I'm wrong on that. The SP is around 6 seconds, and it can only hit ground. So the only way it could hit airs is by running through it, and you can place 3 of them down. So you could have a total of 3 ghosts every single time, unless you keep sacrificing and upgrading. But this unit is in the 4th slot because it honestly isn't that crazy. It's just a damage unit that summons. It would be really cool if they could hit air units, because it is the model is very big. The ghost is very big, so it could maybe slap the air unit. It'd be useful. Maybe bring it up to the 3rd slot. Probably not, but still, the summon is unique, right? It's very cool. Nothing that crazy. The normal evolution without actually summoning it isn't all that nice. 60k with the SPF 6.3 is good, but the AoE is lackluster, plus they don't multi-hit. So there's not really much making up for the fact that they have a sacrifice kind of like Ichigo, but doesn't have the damage like Ichigo. So though 300k HP is very nice, but I'd rather have a constant damage dealing unit over a summon that'll do less damage over time. Now moving on to the second to last unit that I rank, I have Power. So Power, a damage around 75k, a DPS of around 35.2k, an SP of around 8.5 seconds, 35 range, big circle AoE, they do not multi-hit, the affinity is magic, the attack type is ground, the ability is the passive bleed curse, and the placement is 4. But like I said earlier with Denji, Power does have the passive bleed curse, which deals times 5 damage buff on any unit they hit. So if you pair this up with any blood or bleed damage dealing unit, it'll do a ton of DPS over time. Plus Power does have around 75k every 8.5 seconds, which is kind of mid in terms of the SPA, very high, but the damage is there. The bleed and curse is definitely there. So the best trait for this one is probably going to be Godspeed, or some form of speed increase, because you want to have as much bleed curse as you want. But that's pretty much it. This woman is basically just a support unit. And finally, I have Konebi. So Konebi, or however you say her name, I'm very disappointed they didn't add her car. I wish that did 20 quadrillion damage, but of course they didn't add it. Maybe part 2 update will be coming out soon. But her damage goes like this: 55k with 110k with crit, 42.3k normally, and 84k with crit, SPA of around 6.5 seconds, range of 20, big circle AoE, they do multi-hit, they have a affinity of physical, the attack type of ground, they don't hit airs, and they have the ability of passively gaining 50% crit chance, which does times 2 damage, and you can place 5 of her down. Now the reason I put her all the way at the bottom is she's nothing that crazy, right? We've had critical chance units before. 100k every 6.5 seconds is nice, but there's nothing unique about it. There's nothing that would place her above maybe an Aizen or maybe an S-Death in terms of damage. There's nothing that would make her that overpowered. Maybe if they added her car, it'd be better, but nope. They made Konebi just a knife wielding psychopath that explodes. But yeah, Konebi, very cool, I guess. They're all RNG based from capsules, so you can't really pick what you want. But still, I'd rank her at the bottom just because that she doesn't have really anything going for her besides that passive crit chance. But yeah, that's my ranking. Definitely leave your comments below of what your ranking is. Mine goes Aki number 1, Denji number 2, Angel number 3, Himeno number 4, Power number 5, and Konebi number 6. Like I said, if I have wrong information or I've mistaken something, leave a comment down below. But anyways, that's it. That's my ranking, and good luck grinding.